Whew. Good evening, oh shit, hold on. Here we go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Late for the Party on Anchor FM. I am your host, Melodious, aka Coverboy, the Modern Marvel, also known as the Madman Harry. I actually wanted to get into a podcast. Turn this down. On the theme, the music in the background, because I actually wanted to talk about. This is going to be a Wallflower journal segment, so you know, and this one's more about like basically the title is like "Know What You're Worth, Go Get It," and you know, doing my podcast has been therapy for me for like since I got started. And the cool part is that coming from the time to where a guy like myself like was hard to communicate, like hard to talk to people because being shy, didn't really realize that I was shy and afraid to be behind the camera and actually express how I feel about certain things, like even like stuff that that kind of entertains me or I'm entertained in, or being in a family full of entertainers and kind of stepping out into the forefront, but coming at it in a different perspective. Like my family, my dad's a guitar player, my brother DJs, my stepmom sings, and I mean, very eclectic family. We damn near do it all. And for me, I make music as well, but I come in more of the production aspect of it, and just didn't go at it in the realm of how like I play instruments as well, but not as frequent like my father or my uncles or anybody in that nature. I came at it in a different perspective. But I feel like most of the stuff that I do requires, or it has been more in a therapeutic kind of way. I'd never really pushed some of my music stuff out there like that not because of, also because of just thinking that, not even thinking that it wasn't good or anything, but it was just more of, that I felt it was more therapeutic for me because at the time I was going through a rough patch in, relationships or anything in that nature. And honestly, it's like when you're good, and it's funny because that's where most of my emotions really came from, through most of my music and most of the stuff that is on my SoundCloud and whatnot. So sometimes you'll hear it on my podcast and everything, and most of the stuff you'll hear in the background on my shows. So, but just it was one of those patches where it's like, but it's still kind of in the realm of me working in a way of like music is just more of a personal feel, but it's not really my voice. Like talking, like communicating. I can express. I mean, I express pretty well when it comes down to making music and dancing for starters. I mean, I do miss doing most of those. Um, but I think when it comes down to doing the podcast, it was more letting my voice out and expressing how I feel when it comes down to just not like just expressing what I feel like, which is cool, what's dope. And unfortunately, like dealing with pop culture, it could be multiple things. Like here I am, a 40-year-old man sitting here talking about pop culture, from video games, wrestling, anime, music, from past and present, and hopefully future. I mean, and future stuff. I mean, it just all depends. It was a good thing that I was expressing it, and like I could talk about it, and it didn't feel weird because there's people like me out there who actually enjoys this kind of stuff. And honestly, I just feel that at the time where when you're in complicated situations like relationships or being homeless or divorce or anything, it kind of pulls you in from like going through. I mean, going through a lot of things. It kind of your outlet of how you cope, and how you're able to release any kind of stress or whatnot. And I feel that my podcast for me has been very, very therapeutic. Like, I didn't even realize I've done almost close to 450 episodes. Like, I just noticed that, close. I would say close to 430, close to 430 episodes. And I mean, I started back in February of 2018 or somewhere in that caliber. Like, I mean, keep in mind, like, I started doing my podcast in my car. And it's interesting because, I mean, I came pretty far in life to where, you kind of get hit, and you get hit, and when you're at your lowest point in your life, you kind of try to hold on to something that you created. And is late for the party is my baby. I mean, I put in a lot of time and effort into doing this podcast, and creating something because I wanted to expand and do something different from what my father and from what everybody that I've known's done, to push my voice out there. And I mean, maybe it's because, like, I'm not sitting here trying to change the world or anything, but Like I always say before, like I may not change the world, but I've definitely put a dent in it, somehow. Like someone's car door. Like I'm like at the scratch of the surface, and it feels good. It really feels good because regardless of anybody tells you anything of just like if you know what you're worth and you know that whatever that you're doing that you believe in, and I believe in what I'm doing. I'm not stopping for anything, for anyone. This is what I believe in, and this is what I'm going to do, no matter how far or what part of my being, my last breath, whatever. I'm going to keep pushing and move forward, regardless of any doubters or anything. And I'm coming from a point to where, like, you know, someone who I thought cared about me said, like, oh, your podcast isn't going to work. You're not a millennial. Why, wow. Wow, like really? So I gotta be a millennial in order to run a freaking podcast or do a interview or anything like that? Come on. And hearing that driven me even to do it even more. And coming from like like I said, being in a dark place at one point in your life, you go through it. You go through it. I deal with anxiety, depression, all of that. And it's not easy. There's some points in time in life to where you fall and you hit rock bottom, and what do? You try to pull yourself through. The best way you can, like having a safety net to being there for you. It is what it is. You know. Whew, I'm not trying to get too emotional today, but but I feel like it's been it was rough for me at one point, you know. It was rough for me at one point because it was like, for those who may or may not know, went through a divorce, just things didn't work. Um, it was a tough one. Not even gonna front. Put me in a state to where I was homeless. Not putting anybody at fault or blame, doesn't even matter. It was just about recovering and accepting the change and able to move forward and take care of yourself. And, you know, during COVID didn't really help because, you can't really do much but stay at home, but you had to fight through a lot of I had to fight through a lot of things. And, you know, honestly, like I said, my podcast really got me through most of it. There was some points in time to where I wanted to hang it up, wanted to just give up and just, but nah, I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it because honestly, it was like, this is some of the best work that I believe that I've been doing. And I'm not gonna stop. I can't. I'm not a quitter. But that's one thing about us Colesmen. We don't give up. We don't back down. We don't back down from a damn thing. We don't back down from a fight either. And yeah, I feel this is what I'm supposed to do. And I'm gonna keep going at it till that ceiling breaks. You know? That's why it's just when you feel like you know what you're worth, go get what you're worth. Don't stop. Don't stop for anybody. You know what I'm saying? No matter if all the people in your life feels that oh, you can't sing, you can't do this, you can't make cookies, you can't do anything like that. I mean, no. Don't listen to that shit. The shit. The main person that you have to deal with is you. No matter who you lay next to, no matter what you do in this life, anything, you got to wake up to you for the rest of your life. And you got to look in the mirror and you got to be like, you're your own worst enemy, but you're your biggest and greatest ally as well. So whatever confidence that you have to dig deep in the bowels of your stomach and push that out of you to let it be known. That's what I've been doing till now. Even now. So it's hard. It really is. I mean, just dealing with all kinds of shit, I mean, accepting change and going through it and believing in the things that you do, believing in your convictions, standing by your word and what you want to do with your life in general. Like I said, I've stemmed from making shirts. I mean, literally making shirts and doing 420 episodes, got my YouTube channel starting to make traction, and even made some money off of it. I'm not even gonna lie, it's actually pretty cool. Like, I'm not expecting to be a millionaire or anything. I'm just happy that I'm doing something that makes me feel very good. And I am damn proud of that. I made it this far and I'm making it. I looked at like back to what, almost going on 3 years ago. And I'm doing something that I said I was going to do. That's the main thing. And sticking to it. And then it also made me think about all the other things I've stuck to. Like going back to school and getting a better 9-to-5 or whatever. You put your mind to what you want to do. It's not going to stop you. Nothing is going to stop you but you. And if you're stopping yourself, you're just holding yourself back on everything. And sometimes the greatest risk in life is not taking risks at all. And if you're not taking any kind of risk, then, you're just, that's the biggest risk, is not taking risk. So, hell, something as small as what I'm doing, it's not even small to me. It's big, because I never thought I would do anything this huge. But here I am. And I'm going to keep moving forward. regardless if there's people hating or why are you doing this or whatever the case. Keep in mind, I was a guy doing a podcast in his car on his phone. And with some of the traction I've made over 400 and something odd episodes later, I'm still here and I'm still pushing and I'm still making moves